The value of a name. Maybe you may have listened to a lot of people that have done some great things, that have left some great legacies behind them. But I'm sure if you listen carefully, they will all tell you that they've put in a great work into making those names great. So this is my take on that. That having a name isn't only just about the name itself, but you will find that the people behind those names have put in a lot of hard work in such a way that when they walk into a room, they don't even need to introduce themselves. Why? Because the kind of a work though, or the amount and the quality of the work that they've put behind their craft speaks volumes. So having that great name isn't only just about the name itself, but it talks about the kind of ethics that a person has. It talks about uh, the kind of personality that he carried. Because when we look at that name, we also look at the value of it. We look at the effect of that name, the kind of impact that it has. So this is my view, that a name isn't very different from a living organism. Any living body has to have a body and a spirit behind it to exist, to live, to express itself. So if you see a person having a name or an institution being called a big institution, having that great name, you also have to look at the work behind it, and that work is the spirit behind that name, and that spirit gives it life. So you look at people whom we know today, celebrities. What you will find is that some of them are self-made, some of them were introduced to us by people who've walked that journey before them. So it tells us that a name isn't only just a name, but it also goes on to grow, be broad in such a way that it even becomes a platform for other people to come and express themselves, for other talent to come and showcase themselves. I mean, we can look at football today. We look at in South Africa, we look at teams like Kaiser Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns. You see, those big three clubs have a history, they have a certain culture, they have records. But now they aren't only just names for those clubs. There are certain individuals, athletes, football players who want to be exposed out there into the world, who have dreams of traveling outside of South Africa, outside of Africa. So now you will have a player signing up for a team like Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns, but also affirming their desire to go to Spain or Italy or England. So now, uh, this football club that the player is signing for, we know it to have a certain history of exporting certain players to these different clubs abroad, from abroad. And you can see that on their mind is that they see a platform where they can come in and grow and showcase their talent, expose themselves out there into the world. So the name of the club isn't only just a name now, it is also a platform for other people uh, to come in and and raise the awareness about its sports itself, and the sponsorships behind it. We can see the followership of sports. We can see the kind of incentives that it has. We see how much of a business it has become today. Why? Because of the name it carries, some sort of a burden, a blessing or a curse, if I might put it that way. So I can say that from that base, that the sports itself is a name, and football clubs tend to become platforms in which the players can go in and express their talents, showcase their skills, their personalities, and even themselves grow to become name brands that other brands can sponsor and make also a living out of that. So yeah, that's the effect that a name can carry. It isn't only just a name that you can tag that institution or that kind of a player, but some some things along the way about the culture of that institution tends to become a brand. So yes, I think we looking at that, we can even go to look at the history of our football clubs in South Africa and look at uh, the latest club to win the Champions League in South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns. And we can find from them that uh, their latest exports was Pesitao. Pesitao went on to play in England and then now Egypt. Before him, it was Kirendoli, Paramani Mahlambi, and the likes of Bongani Zungu. You see, it serves as a proof of that when a name grows into becoming a platform, it opens up opportunities for other people and other players as well. You go into the music industry. I myself grew up as a person who used to listen to hip hop a lot, and I've looked at people like Dr. Dre. And what you'll find from that individual is that even though he's made great things for himself, there's also some people whom, when he's touched their craft, when he's introduced or opened up doors for them, they went up and become big things and great people in that field of music, the hip hop music. We've got guys like Curtis Jackson, that's 50 Cent, Marshall Mathers, Eminem, and there's Kendrick Lamar today. We know that those people have been given an opportunity and the kind of attention that they might have not have had, uh, say Dr. Dre had not picked them up and said to the world, here's a great artist, give him a chance and listen to him. So there's that kind of an attention that when a name behind you is pushing you, you get from that base that he has or that woman might have, because the kind of a reputation he has created for him also tends to work for you also, because when his name comes up, uh, it draws up that amount of attention. So yeah, it goes from being a spirit and a body, it becomes a platform, and it's recognizable. Now we are living in a time where everything is almost commercialized. uh, you look at the way things are happening, the economies are going down, and people are looking for different ways to make a living. So you see that when you get into a point where you can make a great name for yourself, you can even also monetize that. So a name, having a great name and protecting your reputation when it comes to that, you see that it can work in your favor, because when your name comes up, what goes into the people's mind is what that name has pushed, what we have heard, what we have seen from that personality, and everyone else associated with that person. Yes, we can even go as far as saying it can even gain you a strength, as we have seen before, players having agents in the football world. But you see, some of those players have gained some kind of a stature that they even demonstrated to us that they might not even need those agents anymore. We have seen Kevin De Bruyne telling his agent that he will represent himself. Manchester City wanted to cut his wages, but he himself stood up and showed them the kind of work that he had put in the previous season. And when they really did look into that work, they saw that, in fact, instead of cutting his wages, they had to increase them. Why? The kind of name that De Bruyne carries and the kind of respect that he now commands in the football world, the kind of incentives that come into a club just because of those names, those football stars, it has an effect. It draws up attention. When he talks, big guys give him attention, they listen. So yeah, it goes even as far as that. But what I can say from that is that we are living in a country where we see a lot of people starting up some great things and making a big living out of those. But when people see that, they tend to follow behind instead of starting their own, instead of following their own passions. So we might tend to become a nation that is called the nation of copycats, which is not good for our name. What I can say is that uh, what we can focus on is doing things that show our inner man, our personalities, our strengths, instead of copying other people. Because when we lack originality, we lack that kind of an energy that will drive us for a long time. Because this is when creating a name for yourself, it is not only just about what you are doing now and what you are going to get now. You need stamina. So if you're copying other people, you're not going to have that drive that's going to keep you going. But you you might end up encouraging others not to even start doing what they're doing, because your failure will tell them that you failed because of maybe a lack of funding or lack of resources. Not knowing what drove you was trying to copy other people. But we might even come to a point where we are being branded as people who lack originality, because that's what it would come to. Follow your passion, focus on your craft, draw stamina and energy from what drives you, and the things that always spark your interest. Those are the things that are connected to your purpose, so you should follow those. Thank you and shalom.